Anthony Albanese landed in Port Moresby about three and a half hours ago to mark ANZAC Day on Thursday by walking part of the Kokoda Trail. It was used by Australian soldiers helped by local villagers to fight Japanese soldiers in World War II. The PNG Prime Minister will join him there. But that'll probably be a reminder to our Prime Minister that war is not just behind us, but perhaps in front as well. You see, China's Foreign Minister dropped in on PNG just yesterday to make allies with that country, while the US State Secretary, meanwhile, is flying to China to ask why it's helping to arm Russia in its war on Ukraine, when it said it wouldn't. Things are getting so tense. Joining me is the country's top foreign affairs writer, Greg Sheridan of the Australian newspaper. Greg, great to see you. Look, it's not just tense, it's getting more and more dangerous, but you wrote to the Australian on the weekend that we've been conned by the government last week when it unveiled its new defence strategy. What do you mean?
Well, Andrew, great to be with you. So the government last week was at its most disgraceful. It says it's going to increase defence expenditure radically to get it up to 2.4% of GNP. But that increase doesn't happen until year 5, that is to say 5 years from the next budget. So that means the entirety of the first 2 terms of the Albanese government sees no effective increase in defence expenditure. According to the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, they cut real defence spending in their first budget, and in the forthcoming budget they say they're going to increase by $5.7 billion over 4 years. But Marcus Hellyer, formerly of ASPI, the most authoritative defence budget analyst in the country, tells me definitively this won't compensate for cumulative inflation because the government doesn't compensate defence for inflation. So that means we're getting a static or in fact decreasing defence budget for 6 years after they tell us we're facing the worst strategic crisis since World War II. And then we're supposed to take it on faith that they will magically and suddenly lift the defence budget in year 6. And if they won't do it now when they've got a budget surplus, AUKUS is all shining and they've actually got a parliamentary majority, what chance is there they'll do it in their 3rd term where they're dependent on the Teals and the Greens at best for a parliamentary majority? This is utterly irresponsible.
That is really quite shocking. Yeah, well, I don't believe it either. 6 years of not increasing the budget, but believe us, will do really big in 6 years. No, that's not going to happen. One bit of good news, though, Greg. I've been so worried about what's going on in Ukraine. It's dropped off the map as people have focused on Israel. It's actually been running literally out of ammunition. The Russians are again advancing. It's all desperate there, quite desperate. But finally, after half a year of saying no for crass political reasons, the Republicans have finally agreed to help pass nearly $100 billion of aid from the US, military aid for Ukraine. Is it enough? Is it too late?
Well, it's very good. It's very good. It's a lot of money. It'll all go, of course, to American arms manufacturers, or the vast majority of it, which is good, and they'll supply the equipment to Ukraine. So it'll be money that goes back into the US economy. It seemed, Donald Trump told the Republicans not to vote for the aid, and to their eternal disgrace, they did as they were told. And because they only have a wafer-thin majority, you only need a couple of them to defect, and they can join with the Democrats and oust any House Speaker. So the most lunatic people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who thinks that California forest fires are caused by laser beams, run by dangerous businessmen from satellites in the sky. The most wacky lunatic Republicans were stopping this aid. It's a disgraceful comment on the state of Western politics. It seems in this case the Democrats have said, in exchange for getting the aid to Ukraine, they won't vote for the ousting. They won't join with the Republican vandals and vote for the ousting of Mike Johnson. It's a big step forward, but by golly, American politics is in a desperate mess when it takes something like this for something as straightforward as aid to Ukraine to get passed.